Aboard the papal flight from Colombia, Pope Francis has questioned President Donald Trump's commitment to pro-life values, suggesting that his administration's recent decision to end a program protecting undocumented young people from deportation is contradictory. In a half-hour press conference on the flight back to Rome September 10 after a 5-day visit to Colombia, the pontiff also said he hoped Trump would reconsider his decision to stop the Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals program, also known as DACA. Follow our coverage of Pope Francis' trip to Colombia. "I have heard the President of the United States speak," the Pope said, responding to a question from a Mexican journalist about Trump's decision. "He presents himself as a pro-life man. If he is a good pro-lifer, he should understand that the family is the cradle of life and you must defend its unity." Francis said that while he has not studied the specifics of the DACA program, he believes removing young people from their family is not a thing that bears good fruit, neither for the young person nor the family. The Pope said he is especially worried about young people who become detached from their roots and lose hope in the future, even then choosing to commit suicide. "Young people today need to refine their roots," he said. "And anything that goes against this robs them of hope." Former President Obama started the Deferred Action Program in 2012 to protect some 800,000 young people brought to the U.S. illegally as children from deportation. Trump's Attorney General, Jeff Sessions, announced September 5 that the president would be ending the program in 6 months, placing those youth in danger of being deported. While Trump was known to be pro-choice prior to entering politics, he promised on the 2016 campaign trail that he would be a pro-life president and received the support of numerous Christian pro-life groups and leaders, including former Vatican official U.S. Cardinal Raymond Burke. Francis previously questioned Trump's Christianity in a 2016 press conference, when asked about the then presidential candidate's plan to build a wall across the entire U.S.-Mexico border. "A person who thinks only about building walls, and not building bridges is not Christian," the Pope said then. Trump responded angrily to that statement, saying that it was disgraceful for a religious leader to question someone's faith. "History will judge climate change deniers." Francis also said during the press conference that political leaders have a moral responsibility to follow scientists' recommendations and reduce carbon emissions in order to stem the effects of climate change. The Pope said that whoever denies that humans are contributing to the warming of the planet needs to go visit the scientists and ask them. "You see the effects of climate change, and the scientists say clearly the path to follow," said the pontiff, mentioning current reports that the ice at the North Pole is breaking up due to increased global temperatures. "All of us have a moral responsibility." Francis said he had recently read a news report that claimed humanity has 3 years to make changes to stop the warming of the planet without making the process irreversible. "I do not know if 3 years is right or not, but if we do not turn back, it is true that we will go down," said the Pope. "We have to take this seriously. I believe it is not something to joke around fault with." The pontiff said all people must confront the situation. "Political leaders have their responsibility, but everyone has their own," he said. "If someone is a bit doubtful, ask the scientists," the Pope advised. "They are very clear. They are not opinions on the fly. They are very clear. Then, decide and history will judge the decisions." The Pope spoke about climate change in response to a question about what responsibility leaders who do not act to mitigate its effects have for the damage and deaths that may be caused by catastrophic weather events attributed to the continued warming of the planet. The papal flight from Colombia passed near the Caribbean islands, where days ago the record-setting Hurricane Irma had left a trail of destruction before continuing on to put much of the western coast of Florida underwater overnight. September 10. Francis published an encyclical letter in 2015, Laudato Si', that embraced the scientific consensus on climate change and called for humanity to combat global warming. The Pope told journalists before release of the document that he hoped it might influence the then ongoing discussions that led to the Paris Climate Accord, an agreement made among 195 of the world's nations to reduce greenhouse emissions. Trump announced in June that he would remove the U.S. from the agreement, making it one of a small handful of countries outside the pact. Asked why he thought political leaders have taken so long to confront climate change, Francis said the question made him think of a bee.